In Palo Alto, you saw how public support could help solve the problem of a dangerous and overloaded highway. In Pittsburgh, it was downtown traffic congestion that was strangling a great metropolitan area. Now let's look at what community action did for Boston. Boston is the hub of a very complex highway system. In New England, all roads lead to Boston. And Boston has kept growing, swelling the towns around it. Today, its metropolitan area extends over 42 cities and towns, with a population of 2.5 million. Once, country roads served the outlying communities adequately. But overnight, they became city streets, with through traffic hopelessly entangled, as you see it here. It became so bad that a trip of 15 miles, say from Stoneham, north of Boston, to Newton on the south side, actually took over an hour. At the State House, there was a highway on paper, which could have alleviated all that traffic congestion. Lack of public support had kept it in the files, until the people of Essex County, through their Board of Trade, got it out into the light of day. Here you see it on the map, Highway 128. Starting from Gloucester, the old fishing port, it swings in a wide 80-mile arc around the rim of Greater Boston, all the way down to Dedham, with its last section now nearing completion. Today, John Smith of Gloucester can leave his family in the morning and travel safely and quickly over a modern express highway to his job. Because new roads, like magic arteries, pump increased values into adjacent land, he now travels past property whose value has increased 100 times over. Along this highway have sprouted 7 great industrial centers, occupied by some of the country's leading manufacturers, and other centers are now being developed. New wealth and new revenues have come to the old New England towns along the highway. And not to forget our Mr. Smith, and thousands more like him, here he is arriving at his place of work without once having had to fight the Boston traffic. When the people of Essex County pushed for the construction of 128 in order to relieve traffic congestion, they didn't know they were going to ring Boston with a golden semicircle. And that's what Highway 128 is called today, Boston's Golden Semicircle. So far, you've seen what improved highways and traffic control mean to a metropolitan area. But all good roads are part of one great pattern, the interstate system that serves the whole nation. The great primary roads that connect the cities, and then the roads that feed into this system. We need good secondary roads to serve the rural population and small towns of America. For that story, we go to North Carolina. Why North Carolina? Well, only a few years ago, the rural population lived largely in the back country, far from the few main highways, in what was called dirt road isolation. But then the people of North Carolina decided on a bold rural roads program. Let's see how this investment is paying off. You're now in a typical farm home in North Carolina. It's morning, and the family's day has begun. Father and son are on their way, one to the farmer's market, the other to his factory job. Daughter has a few seconds longer. Everybody's on the move now. Once, life was lived pretty much around the farm. But now, 21,000 miles of good secondary roads connect the farm to a wider world. The old dirt road isolation is ended. North Carolina's children no longer trudge to the old one-room country schoolhouse. Nearly everybody in the state lives close to good new highways like this one. And good highways mean a good school transportation system. Good roads mean that children from scattered farms can be picked up at all outlying points. Every morning, they're on their way to modern schools. The new roads mean that the farmer's son can travel as far as 50 miles to his job at the new factory. And the factory itself could not have been built here if it weren't for the new roads. The rural family can now work in industry as well as on the land. At one time, remote from the big town, the farmer now drives directly to the city market over good roads, a saving in time and effort. making possible new and diversified crops that can be delivered quickly, a big factor in the rapid growth of North Carolina. One of the dramatic changes in rural life is in the schools. The old one-room schoolhouse has been replaced by the big central school. 15 years ago, these youngsters living 20 miles apart would never have known one another, nor would they have had the specialized equipment and training in one of the finest rural school systems in the country. For the farm housewife, the highway leads now to the modern shopping center, to the variety of goods and services she never had before. Farm life has been transformed by the road. The horizon is constantly widening. The rural family looks beyond the nearby crossroads for its social life and amusement. The good road leads to things people couldn't think of years ago. It connects the life of the farm with the life of the town, with the varied activities of people everywhere. This is the payoff on the investment in good roads in North Carolina. A fuller life for country people. But North Carolina isn't stopping with its program of secondary roads. Its people have already decided to embark on a new program to improve their system of primary highways. The first big investment is paid off, and North Carolina will invest again, confident of a return. But good roads alone are not always enough. We need proper traffic regulations to promote efficient travel. And we need one more thing, too. We're talking of safe driving. Cars and roads have improved, but the driver must improve, too. Almost as great a challenge to communities as the road itself. Just how can communities go about a safety program? To find out, we sent our camera crews to a middle-sized American city in the Middle West, to St. Joseph, Missouri. Population 79,000. The chief industries are meat packing and grain processing. Other products are work clothing, locomotive parts, wire rope, and safety. Yes, they work on safety here, and they sell it hard in St. Joe. It's a town that hates accidents, maybe because they used to have 2,000 a year. They don't let you forget safety in St. Joe.
Safety is everybody's business. It is one business where we can't say, let George do it.
Daylight hours are growing shorter day by day, and the danger to pedestrians is increasing. Drivers cannot see you as well in the early morning hours or in the dusk of evening, so cross streets with extra care.
They don't let you forget safety in St. Joe. They run it like $1 million advertising campaign, but there's no $1 million behind it. Only the voluntary activity of lots of people, like the members of this safety council. Walter Ladd is its manager.
We use the 3 E's for traffic safety. E for education, E for engineering, E for enforcement. But the big E is education. Education of the public, education of the individual. This takes a lot of pick and shovel work. It takes coordination and organization. We try to bring every organization and all citizens into it. And we work a lot with the children.
In St. Joe, they believe in the educational principle of starting them while they're young. Maybe when this generation grows up, safety will be embedded in its consciousness. School children learn about safety at first hand, right in traffic court.
I arrested the defendant at approximately 5:40 p.m. for passing through a red light.
Your Honor, it's late, and I'm trying to make this last delivery because I know if I don't get this in, I'm jammed up. I know I didn't go through any red light. In fact, I'm positive.
After court sessions, the kids get a chance to ask questions.
Well, when he comes to court and he still says he is not guilty, what happened?
Then it is up to the court to decide by the testimony offered by
the defendant and by the police officer as to whether or not he is guilty. That is the burden of the court.
They teach driving as a regular part of the high school curriculum. In more ways than one, teenagers have to learn about themselves. That includes a knowledge of the machine they will drive and of the normal limitations of human judgment when driving. You got to learn to put on your brakes a second sooner, not a second later.
And I'm sure a lot of good will come from our discussing these various problems. And now I believe we have a few more reports.
To sum up the discussion in my section...
You're now looking at the annual Teenager Safety Conference. Delegates from all of the high schools participate.
The next report, please.
We know that there are not enough traffic officers to enforce the laws.
Our committee...
This is how the adult sense of responsibility develops. This is where community attitude is born. In St. Joe, safety isn't a one-time broadside. Not something for Tuesday to be forgotten Wednesday. It includes campaigning against that tried and true adventurer, the jaywalker. The busy Women's Day in St. Joe includes safety both in committee meetings and in working up programs, like this one. They help police and car dealers organize this car checkup, and they saw it all the way through. Enforcement of sensible traffic regulations has the support of the people, and there are fewer accidents and fewer traffic violations in St. Joe. The prospect is for still less next year.
A few years ago, St. Joseph had an average of 17 traffic deaths a year. The last 5 years, the average has been less than 5, and last year we had 1. How did we do this? It was done by awareness of the public in this problem, and by an effective program led by the Safety Council, a full-time organization. The price of such a program is cheap compared with the price of accidents.
In St. Joseph, they have learned a lesson that, as with liberty, the price of safety is continual vigilance. You have seen how, in various ways, people in their own communities are getting together to do something about our highway situation. Freedom to travel safely and quickly and comfortably on our highways is not a little freedom, but a big one. As you must realize every time you get caught in a traffic jam or read the accident figures. In many states, in many cities beside those you have just seen, people are finding real answers to traffic problems. Their stories have been collected in this book, Freedom of the American Road, published by the Ford Motor Company. It is available in your community. This book gives you many workable ideas and tells you where to get expert advice if your community needs help. We hope it may show how you too can help secure for all of us the freedom of the American road.